Well, in our previous videos, we've seen how to manipulate some functions such as the sum function, average, sum if, some ifs, average if, count, counter if function, the VLOOKUP, and recently we saw how to use the match and index function. In this video, we're going to talk about a particular function which is called the Iferror function, which is a function just like the word imply if error. What should happen should in case there is an error in our function? It's just a correction of error. It's a function which helps to correct error, or which helps us to avoid seeing error messages. For example, in our data validation and VLOOKUP tutorial, we saw here we could choose different customers ID, and it brings an annual purchase. Now look at something. This function was looking up to the customer's ID. What if there's nothing as value in the customer's ID? Like, let me say delete what is in this cell. You can see an error message appear because this function, or according to this function, it has to look for a value in this cell that exists in this range of cells. But it comes here and it realizes that here there is nothing. It means that meanwhile here it can't find any empty cell, so it can't give us any value, so it's kind of confused. So it's giving us an error message, but in our case we don't want to be seeing this error message. If there's nothing here, we don't want to see anything appear here. So how do we correct this error message? We use the Iferror function. So simply at the beginning of the function which was written here, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to add the Iferror function so as to correct the error. See, if I choose a value, it won't show the error message, but if there's no value, error message. So I'll double click in this cell where we wrote this function. I'll come before the beginning, or before the VLOOKUP function, or before the function, just after the equal to sign, and I type if error. So the Iferror function is made up of two parts, or two arguments. We have the value and the value Iferror. So all this function that we have written is the value we want to test, is the value which is to appear. So if all of this is the value, no need for us to give any value again. We just put our semicolon to get to the value if error. So when we apply this value and we have an error, what should we put? What should be the value should in case there is an error? So in this case, we're just going to put inverted commas, open and close, which signifies empty cell, like nothing. What we want to do is that should in case this VLOOKUP looks up to this cell and sees nothing, instead of this VLOOKUP sending us an error message, it should give an empty cell, empty, null, nothing inside. To represent nothing in Excel, you put inverted commas, open and close. Then you close your bracket and you click on enter. You see here there's nothing, no error. When I choose an ID, you have the annual purchase. When there is no ID, there is no error message. You can do same with the index function, or anywhere you are located, any function you use which can give you an error message. You just have to put the if error on it. Like for example, should in case there is no information for flash, there's no information for the items, there's no information for the month, you will see there will be an error message at the level of sales, because it's not seeing anything at the item cell, it's not seeing anything in the month cell. So here what we can do is that we just put the if error. So all this function is our value. We come here, we put our column and we give the value if error. The value if error is nothing, so inverted commas open and close, and superb. So if there's nothing here, here there's equally nothing. And if I choose, for example, disk, and here I choose the month of July, you can see it appears, but when there's nothing, no error message. So that's all about the if error function. It helps us to avoid showing error messages when we apply our functions. It is more professional to have an Excel sheet which does not apply or show error messages. Thank you for watching and see you in our next video.